Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is IOANNIS at IOANNIS.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. How can I really understand if I'm not playing clean? Here's an excellent question. I really like this one. We have a friend of the show who is asking, how can I understand if my playing is not clean? Maybe somebody has told him, maybe some of his bandmates have told him something, or a sound engineer told him, yeah, this is not very clean. And he's asking, how can I, the player, understand? And I totally feel for you. It's not easy for specific reasons we're going to talk about right now. And it is something that's very important because having good playing, like clean playing, is really of paramount importance, especially if you're going to be recording. So let's see what we can do to help our friend. First of all, why does this happen? Why is it difficult for us to understand if we are playing clean? It's really simple, because we as guitar players, we give the command from our brain to our fingers to play something, to move on the neck. And just because we gave the command, we believe that it has been well executed, which is very often is not the case. So it's like our intentions are good, but we never check the result if it actually sounds good. Now, the solution to that is really very simple. You need to start paying attention to the sound that's coming out of the speaker, not to what your fingers have been instructed to do. But doing that is more difficult than it sounds. Why is it more difficult than it sounds? Well, because of your eyes. The vast majority of players, when they're playing, they're looking at the guitar. They're looking at their fingers that are moving, or the right hand picking. So they're using their eyes a lot. Sight takes a huge processing power from the brain, which means that if you are looking, you are not listening as intently. So what can you do about that? Well, very easy. Just close your eyes and concentrate on the sound. Immediately, even if you're just playing the same thing that you were just playing with your eyes open, you will start immediately paying more attention to what it sounds like. You will hear little imperfections, you will hear if there is noise, you will hear if the sound is fluid or not. Why? Because now your brain has all this processing power available just for your ears. So the first thing to do is to close your eyes, and the second thing is to consciously try to listen to the sound coming out of your speakers and not to what you think the sound is like, but what actually comes out. So let's go to the next tip. The next tip is to lose the effects from your playing. And by effects, I mean usually the delay-based effects like delay, reverb, chorus, flanger, all the modulation effects. So just kick them out and just play with a regular sound, clean sound, with just your preamp distortion or your distortion pedal. This is fine, but don't have extra effects, because these only help to muddy up the sound and you cannot get a clear idea of what you are playing. These effects might sound great if you're playing live and might sound great in specific uses inside the recording, but you definitely don't want them when you're practicing. All my students in elite guitar coaching, whenever they're sending me videos for their feedback, like on a daily or weekly basis, they've all been instructed to send me without any extra effects. If it's a clean sound, it's a totally clean sound, no chorus, no reverb, no sound, nothing. If it's a distorted sound, it's just straight distorted sound, no extra effects, no delay, no chorus, no flanger, no anything. So just keep it very, very simple. Even just by taking out these effects, it's gonna be much more easy to spot any inaccuracies in your playing. The biggest culprit in this style, in this, well, I wouldn't call it a style of playing, but in this like effects bleeding in with each other is delay, because delay just stays there and loops over and over, and this can really muddy up the sound. So the first thing you should do is just turn down your delay. Let's go now to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to record yourself while playing and listen afterwards. The easiest way to do it is just get your cell phone and just, start the voice recording mode, and then it records everything you play, and afterwards you just listen to it and you see if you can spot difficulty in playing the notes clean, if you have a lot of extraneous noise in your sound and in your playing, which is something very usual. Now, this is something that you should do it, I'm not going to say all the time, because you cannot like practice for 2 hours and then listen for 2 more hours of your playing, but after you do a good warm-up and you're ready to be playing like in your whatever you consider your level, just do a few recordings here and there for that day, and then take 5 or 10 minutes to listen back to them and see if you can identify problem spots. Now, a good teacher, especially a good guitar coach who's very experienced, will immediately tell you, oh, you have this problem with noise because you're doing that, and to fix that you should do that, because there are specific things and ways to fix all the noise coming out of the guitar that you don't want to hear. But some of that stuff, the beginning stuff, you can do it yourself just by listening and then trying to figure out different combinations. So definitely do that, record yourself as much as possible. And moving on to the last one. The last one is going to be the most difficult to explain, and this is because it doesn't have to do with what you do, it has to do with what you hear. Most beginning guitar players, like between the beginning and middle intermediate, they have just accepted the concept of guitar noise in their playing. So they play something, there is noise with it, and they say, yep, that's what it's supposed to sound like. Yeah, that's it. It's rock, it's metal. No, it's not. It's bad technique. It sounds like crap. You're not supposed to sound like that. If you want to hear what good metal technique sounds like, go to YouTube, go for search for separate guitar tracks from various songs, and then you'll hear tracks by very famous guitar players, and that they have been isolated guitar tracks of just whatever they played in that song, and you'll see that in the vast majority of cases, even with players who are not very technical, you will hear that their playing is without almost any noise. It's actually kind of scary even for me to hear that. It's like, damn, I thought this guy was just like hitting the guitar and it sounds perfect, even just an isolated guitar track. This is actually fun to do. I definitely suggest you should do it. Just go to YouTube and go look for isolated guitar tracks or guitar parts for famous songs. So to come back to our final hint, to our final trick, you have to listen to what you're playing and not accept the fact that you have noise. Don't think of it as, oh yeah, it sounds metal, or it sounds rock, it sounds like dirty and heavy. It doesn't. It sounds like bad guitar playing, okay? Now, how can you fix that? This is something that cannot be fixed just by me telling you something. It's something that has to do with your oral awareness, okay? How you listen to. So you just take the advice that you have to listen to more critically to your playing and not accept the noise, and then slowly you're gonna start getting better at it. So there you have it. Quite a few, I think 5 or 6 pieces of advice on how to make sure you are playing clean, and how your playing is going to sound much more professional as a result of that. I've mentioned several times that clean playing is a very big part of not sounding like an amateur and sounding more like a pro. Even if everything else that you play doesn't change, just becoming more clean in playing the things that you already play is going to make it sound of much higher quality. I hope this was a helpful video and it's going to help several of you clean up your act when it comes to guitar playing, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep sending me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them in upcoming videos. Bye bye.